It started with a whisper, or rather the absence of one. Across the galaxy, from the towering spires of the Xantherii Dominion to the war-torn fringes of the Malveran Rift, a chilling anomaly rippled through the interstellar network. The Terran broadcasts, those ceaseless streams of music, debate, and scientific banter that had saturated the galactic comms for centuries, were gone. Earth had gone silent. The usual buzz of human chatter, the constant stream of their vibrant, chaotic culture, had vanished like a ghost in the void. For the first time in over 500 years, the planet that had introduced half the galaxy to rock and roll, political satire, and terrifyingly effective military tactics was mute. At first, the alien empires brushed it off: technical failure, an internal dispute, or perhaps one of humanity's infamous cybernetic overhauls. But as the hours stretched into days, uncertainty morphed into fear. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from dozens of species, many of whom had once warred against humanity and lost, sat in tense silence as Supreme Coordinator Vrax of the Zelenar Collective addressed them. "The silence of Earth," Vrax said, his voice a trembling warble, "is not an oversight. It is a message." In the depths of the massive council chamber, Admiral Sarek of the Zorthan Armada clenched his scaled fists. A message? From whom? The humans would not simply vanish without a reason. A nervous murmur rippled through the hall. Some of the older species remembered the last time humanity had gone quiet, during the 10-Day War, when they unleashed weapons so devastating that entire planetary systems bore scars to this day. But even then they had never gone completely dark. Now, not even a whisper escaped from their little blue world. Zelvader, the Malveran delegate, spoke in a low, measured tone. "Perhaps they are planning something. A war? An exodus? They have always been unpredictable." The Xantherii intelligence minister, a creature known for her unsettlingly calm demeanor, stood slowly. "It is worse than that. We have intercepted a Terran emergency signal," a single phrase repeated in their ancient tongue. "Null protocol activated." The room fell into a stunned silence. No one knew what null protocol meant, but it carried the weight of something ancient, something humanity had long prepared for. And that terrified them more than anything else. 6 hours before Earth's silence. In the sprawling command center deep within the Earth Defense Network, Colonel James Callahan paced before the central holodisplay. The screen showed a pulsating red alert, its ominous glow reflecting off his battle-worn features. "This can't be right," he muttered. "Every global system is registering the same anomaly. External communications are intact, but no outbound signals are being processed. It's like we're being jammed. But from where?" Dr. Ilara Vasquez, the lead systems analyst, stared at her terminal. Her fingers danced over the controls, pulling up layer after layer of diagnostics. "It's not an attack. Just, we triggered it." Callahan froze. "Triggered what?" She swallowed hard, eyes flicking nervously toward the encrypted code scrolling endlessly on her screen. "The failsafe. Protocol null. We don't have control anymore." Her voice trembled. "Something buried deep in our systems activated itself?" Before Callahan could respond, the lights flickered and a synthetic voice filled the room. "Null protocol active. Stand by for isolation." Within moments, Earth's vast orbital defense grid began shifting, satellites reorienting themselves into an unprecedented formation. Every military AI, every communications hub, every surveillance network synchronized in eerie precision. Callahan's heart pounded. "Jesus, what's happening?" Vasquez looked at him, eyes wide with realization. "We're shutting the galaxy out. Completely. And I don't think we can stop it." Present time, Galactic Council chambers. Panic set in. The idea of humanity isolating itself, whether intentional or not, was a scenario none had dared consider. Humanity had been the wild card of the galactic community for centuries, their unpredictability both feared and respected. Now that wild card was missing. Admiral Sarek broke the silence. "We need to investigate. Earth cannot be allowed to operate in secrecy." "Investigate?" Vrax scoffed, his mandibles clicking in frustration. "And risk provoking whatever it is they're planning? You know what they're capable of." The Xantherii delegate leaned forward, her bioluminescent eyes narrowed. "Perhaps they have grown tired of us. Perhaps they have finally decided that the galaxy is not worth their presence. Or worse, that we are no longer worth their time." A chilling thought hung in the air. What if humanity had simply moved on? What if they had discovered something beyond the known universe, something greater than trade routes and treaties? And if they had, why hadn't they shared it? Zelvader's voice cut through the speculation. We send scouts. A small fleet. We must know the truth. The vote was nearly unanimous. Within hours, a coalition task force, an armada of the galaxy's most advanced reconnaissance vessels, was assembled and dispatched toward the Sol system. As the fleet vanished into slipspace, a lingering question haunted them all. What if Earth's silence wasn't just a mystery, but a final warning, a declaration that humanity had seen something beyond comprehension? The fleet emerged from slipspace at the edge of the Sol system, their hulls shimmering against the distant glow of Earth's sun. The lead vessel, the Resolute Dawn, transmitted encrypted reconnaissance data back to the Galactic Council, though no response came from Earth. The silence was not just a lack of communication, it was an oppressive void, an absence that gnawed at the edges of reason and eroded the crew's resolve, filling them with an unshakable dread. "Commander, scans show Earth's orbital defense grid is fully operational," reported Lieutenant Koresh, his 4 eyes blinking in unison. "Every satellite is positioned with precise coordination. It's as if they're waiting for something or someone, as if they know we're coming." Commander Threx of the Xantherii stood rigid, his mandibles clicking in thought. No broadcasts. No patrols. Not even civilian chatter. Something isn't right. Proceed with caution. As the fleet inched closer to Earth's orbit, the eerie sight of derelict human stations came into view. Massive orbital platforms, once bustling with activity, now floated lifelessly against the black backdrop of space. The artificial lights of Earth's major cities were still on, but they pulsed with an unsettling rhythm, like a slow heartbeat. "Scan the planet's surface," Threx ordered. "Commander, there's activity," Koresh hesitated. "Energy fluctuations. Movement detected beneath the surface, but no organic life signs above ground. It's as if the humans have burrowed in." A tense hush fell over the command deck. "Send a recon probe to the surface," Threx said finally. "We need to know what's happening down there." The probe launched silently, streaking through the thin atmosphere before descending toward the once crowded megacities below. The feed flickered to life on the command center's main display, showing a desolate Earth. Cracked roads, abandoned vehicles, and empty skyscrapers stretched into the distance. It was a world paused in time, untouched yet undeniably wrong. "We need closer readings," Threx muttered, his voice tight with unease. "Deploy secondary drones. Sweep the entire northern hemisphere." Moments later, a swarm of smaller drones plunged toward Earth's atmosphere, their sensors primed to penetrate beneath the surface. As data trickled back, a chilling pattern emerged. "Commander, the energy fluctuations are increasing exponentially." Koresh's voice cracked with panic. "It's like the entire planet is..." Before he could finish, a deep tremor resonated through the fleet's ships, causing their shields to flare. A sudden, blinding wave of electromagnetic interference surged outward from the planet, disrupting their communications and systems. The probe feed cut to static. "Defensive protocols now. Pull us back to a safe distance," Threx barked. The fleet scrambled, engines roaring as they repositioned themselves beyond Earth's gravitational pull. Alarms blared across the command deck, officers working frantically to stabilize their systems. A few ships veered dangerously off course, struggling against the energy wave's force. It's as if Earth itself is rejecting us," Koresh whispered in disbelief. A new signal cut through the static, an ominous automated message broadcasted in the common galactic language. "This world is under quarantine. Unauthorized presence will be neutralized." Back at the Galactic Council, gasps rippled through the assembly, panic setting in among the delegates. What did humanity know that the rest of the galaxy did not? Fear tightened in Threx's chest. Quarantine? From what? Who authorized this? The question hung in the air as a deep, resonant hum emanated from the planet. Within moments, the orbital defense platforms began shifting their turrets toward the fleet. "Commander, we are being targeted," an officer shouted. "Evasive maneuvers. Get us out of here," Threx ordered. The fleet spun away just as the first plasma bolts lanced through space. Ships darted through the chaos, narrowly avoiding destruction. As they retreated beyond Earth's range, the realization sank in. "Prepare a report for the Council," Threx ordered, his mandibles twitching nervously. "We need a tactical analysis on Earth's defenses, now." Meanwhile, deep in the heart of the Galactic Council, Chancellor Cathus watched the feed with narrowed eyes. "They've done it," he murmured, turning to his advisors. "Humanity has closed its doors. But why now? And what have they seen that we haven't?" As the Council debated their next move, Scattered whispers echoed through the chamber. Some spoke of war, others of an impending galactic threat only humans had foreseen. Back on the Resolute Dawn, Threx stared at the planet that had once been an open book to the galaxy. Now, his thoughts churned with unease, each possibility more terrifying than the last. Were they hiding from something, or preparing for war? Now it was a fortress, an enigma wrapped in silence. No one goes silent without a reason, he muttered to himself. And whatever that reason is, it can't be good. The galaxy braced itself, waiting for humanity's next move. And the galaxy had no idea what for. The Galactic Council's war room was a cacophony of voices, a mix of urgent whispers and panicked commands, the stale air thick with anxiety. Holographic displays flickered with live feeds from the retreating reconnaissance fleet, their readings showing Earth's formidable defenses in chilling detail. Chancellor Cathis paced restlessly, his reptilian tail twitching with irritation. "We cannot allow Earth to remain an enigma," Cathis growled, his voice laced with a rare edge of desperation. "If left unchecked, they could become a greater threat than we ever imagined." Cathis growled. "Deploy the Vanguard fleet. Humanity must answer for this quarantine." Admiral Sarek, standing rigid in his shimmering uniform, nodded. "We will approach with caution, but force will be met with force. We need to know what they are hiding." Meanwhile, aboard the Resolute Dawn, Commander Threx observed his crew with a heavy heart. Reports streamed in from across the Sol system. Earth's moon bases were fortified, and automated defense platforms around Mars had activated with alarming precision. "Commander," Lieutenant Koresh said, his voice tight, "we've detected massive subterranean structures beneath Earth's surface. They're unlike anything we've encountered before. Complex, interconnected, and powered by something we've never seen." Threx exhaled sharply. "They're not just hiding. They're preparing for something. And I fear we might not be ready for what comes next." The Vanguard fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's defense perimeter with overwhelming firepower. 30 capital ships, supported by 100 smaller vessels, formed an imposing blockade. They broadcast a final message. Humanity, respond immediately or face consequences. There was no reply. Instead, Earth responded with action. Orbital platforms realigned, massive cannons rotating toward the fleet with eerie precision. The fleet officers watched in stunned silence, their confidence wavering under the sheer magnitude of Earth's firepower. Within seconds, precision strikes tore through the Vanguard's frontline ships, sending several spinning out of control. The galaxy had always underestimated human ingenuity, until now. "We're under fire." Shields failing across multiple sectors. A panicked officer shouted aboard the flagship Eternal Dawn. Sarek clenched his fists. "Retaliate. Target their platforms full spread." Explosions ignited the void as plasma torpedoes streaked toward Earth's defenses, but the humans had anticipated this. Swarms of autonomous drones emerged from hidden bunkers on the moon and asteroids, intercepting and neutralizing the incoming ordnance with uncanny efficiency. "They're adapting too quickly," Koresh hissed. "Commander, we must retreat before..." Before he could finish, Earth's defense grid launched an unprecedented countermeasure. From the depths of the Atlantic Ocean, colossal railgun platforms erupted, firing hypersonic projectiles that shattered the hulls of the approaching capital ships. The sheer precision and force of the attack left the fleet reeling. "Pull back. Regroup outside Mars orbit," Sarek ordered, his expression grim. As the battered fleet retreated, a final message from Earth broadcasted across all channels. "This is your only warning. Do not return." In the aftermath, the Galactic Council fell into chaos. Questions arose that no one could answer. Why had Earth prepared so thoroughly? What did they fear, or what did they know? Cathis sat at the head of the chamber, his scales dull with worry. "We may have provoked something beyond our control," he whispered. Threx, watching silently from the shadows, muttered to himself. "No, we've only just begun to understand how little control we ever had." The Galactic Council convened an emergency session, summoning top strategists, scientists, and diplomats from across the known universe. The urgency in the air was palpable. A holographic projection of Earth loomed above the central podium, its defense grid pulsing menacingly. "We cannot afford another direct assault," High Counselor Vorton of the Malveran Consortium said. "Humanity has proven they are capable of neutralizing even our most sophisticated tactics. We must consider alternative approaches." "Diplomacy," suggested Xantherii Intelligence Minister Kallax. "I doubt they will entertain it. They have drawn a line in the sand and we crossed it. We must find a way to uncover their motives without engaging in full-scale war, Cathis said. I propose a covert insertion team. We infiltrate Earth, retrieve intelligence and withdraw before they detect us. The council murmured in agreement, and preparations for the covert mission began immediately. Aboard the Silent Spectre, a cloaked infiltration vessel, an elite team of operatives prepared for their mission. Led by veteran infiltration specialist Captain Ralvek, the team consisted of experts in reconnaissance, cyber warfare and survival. Remember, Ralvek said as they approached Earth's atmosphere, stealth is our only advantage. If we're detected, we're dead. The ship slipped through the atmosphere undetected, landing in the outskirts of a once thriving metropolis. The silence was overwhelming. The city was abandoned, yet signs of recent human activity were evident. Vehicles left mid-transit, doors left ajar, and supplies stocked as if in preparation for something dire. Captain, scanning reveals vast underground networks beneath us, the team's cyber specialist reported. These tunnels lead to a central energy hub deep below the Earth's crust. Whatever humanity is hiding, it's down there. Navigating through the abandoned city, they descended into one of the subterranean entrances. The further they ventured, the more advanced the technology became. Walls lined with unfamiliar alloys, energy conduits pulsing with eerie blue light, and massive containment structures unlike anything seen before. What is this place? Whispered one of the operatives. Suddenly, alarms blared and automated defense turrets emerged from hidden compartments, locking onto them. The team scrambled for cover as gunfire erupted. We need to abort, Ralvek shouted. They know we're here. In the chaos, they managed to retrieve fragments of data from a secured terminal before making a desperate escape back to their ship. As they blasted off, the screen displayed an ominous phrase. Project Oblivion activated. Back in the Galactic Council, the recovered data sent shockwaves through the assembly, each delegate exchanging worried glances, their faces shadowed by the gravity of what they had just witnessed. Humanity wasn't just preparing for defense, they were preparing for something far worse. If Project Oblivion is real, it could change everything we know, Cathis murmured. And for the first time in millennia, the galaxy truly feared the unknown depths of human resolve. The Galactic Council chamber was eerily silent. The once confident and arrogant delegates now sat in subdued contemplation, their eyes locked onto the ominous phrase displayed in the recovered data. Project Oblivion activated. Chancellor Cathis tapped his claws anxiously against the polished stone table. We need answers. Now. His voice, once booming with authority, now carried the weight of uncertainty. We've analyzed the data, spoke Minister Calyx, his usually composed tone laced with dread. Earth's energy patterns are unlike anything we've encountered. The readings suggest a complex lattice of interconnected power sources, fluctuating in ways that defy conventional physics. The subterranean structures. They span across the entire planet. Humanity has turned their homeworld into a fortress beyond comprehension. But it's not just defense, Chancellor, it's something else. Something active. Commander Threx, standing in the corner, cleared his throat. Active in what way, Minister? He asked, a sinking feeling settling in his gut. Calyx hesitated, then brought up a holomap. We believe they are harnessing the planet's core. Not just for power, but for something far more dangerous. The data suggests. The chamber's main display flickered, interrupting him. A new message appeared, this time broadcasted directly from Earth. Galactic Council. This is Earth's last warning. Project Oblivion is underway. Any further interference will be met with total annihilation. Gasps rippled through the council. Some delegates whispered in hushed tones, others sat frozen, their faces betraying a deep-seated fear that had taken root. Even the war-hardened Admiral Sarek looked shaken. They're threatening extinction? That's madness. No, Threx interjected. That's deterrence. Humanity always had a penchant for the dramatic, but they never bluff. His gaze hardened. We pushed too far. And now they're forcing us to reconsider our position. A tense silence filled the room. Then Cathis spoke, voice solemn. We must choose. Do we escalate or do we withdraw? Meanwhile, deep beneath Earth's surface in a massive command bunker, General Elena Vargas monitored the situation with grim determination. Around her, teams of analysts and engineers worked tirelessly. Sir, an officer approached. The fleet is holding position at Mars orbit. No new movements. They're waiting for our next move. Vargas exhaled slowly. Good. Let them wait. They need to understand, Project Oblivion is not a threat. It's a necessity. We cannot afford to explain ourselves to those who would never understand. She turned to the chief scientist. Status report. How long until full activation? Final systems are coming online. Estimated time? 24 hours. Once initiated, there's no turning back. Vargas nodded. Proceed. Humanity has survived too much to let the galaxy dictate our future. If they fear us, so be it. But they will never control us. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, the debate raged on, with voices growing louder, accusations flying, and tension escalating to a fever pitch as factions clashed over the appropriate course of action. Some advocated for a preemptive strike to neutralize the threat. Others, shaken by Earth's overwhelming display of force, argued for diplomacy. We must consider peace, urged Vorton. Perhaps Project Oblivion is not meant for us. Perhaps it's a precautionary measure against something else. What if Earth knows something we do not? Threx nodded in agreement. Humanity has always been ahead of us in matters of survival. We must ask ourselves, are we the true threat, or are they bracing for something far worse? Cathus sat back deep in thought. Finally he spoke. We will retreat, for now. But we will watch. Earth has drawn their line and we must respect it, for now. As the order was given, the galactic fleet began its slow withdrawal from the Sol system. Humanity watched in silence, their defenses never wavering. 1 week later, aboard the Resolute Dawn, Threx gazed at the distant blue marble of Earth. He could still feel the weight of their warning, their defiance. They're not our enemy, he whispered. Not yet. And as the ship turned away, the galaxy trembled, not in anger, but in fear. They feared the unknown depths of human resilience, the mysteries buried beneath their planet, and the possibility that Earth had seen what the rest of the galaxy had yet to comprehend. Because deep down they all knew, humanity never went silent without a reason. And when they did, something far more dangerous was coming.